the recognized symbol of excellence in collecting podcasts.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Mighty Champions Action Figure Radio. This is a show where we talk about action figures, toys, collectibles, and all that sort of thing. So if that's what you're into, sit back, relax, because we're about to unbox 1 or 2 hours of top shelf, front row toy talk. My name is Ripped and Ruthless John Sargent.
That's beautiful. My name is Ninja Robin Christian McGann. A.K.A. the Toy Biz Disciple, A.K.A. the 250-pound prodigy. How are we doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen?
You guys can subscribe to the show wherever you're hearing the sound of our voices, and while you're subscribing, you might as well review the show as well on whatever platform you are listening to us on. We have got a big ol' fat episode today. We are going to pitch movies based on toy lines, and I am going to rebuild wrestling's greatest wrestling matches in action figure form. I cannot wait to do that. And of course, we got the news like we always do for the week. Like I said, follow along, subscribe wherever you're hearing the sound of our voices. You can also join in on the fun on Instagram at Mighty Champions. We put it all there. That's where the toy hunts go. That's where the new purchases go. That's where the things that we hate go. That's where you can ask us questions, share your collections, all that sort of stuff. The community is at Mighty Champions on Instagram, which is getting pretty hot and heavy these days. Yeah, that's what we got coming up. Christian, how you been, man?
Pretty solid. I told you earlier this week that my relationship with physical output is teetering on the brink of extinction. Physically just been going after it. Baseball season is coming closely to an end, and the aches and pains developed over that has been just, I don't want to say at an all-time high. Where's some wood at? Give me some wood.
Nothing in here. It's all plastic.
It's all plastic. Yeah, and I don't want to knock anything because there's
something's going to
start
fall
an avalanche.
There's a house of cards. Don't touch anything.
Yeah. So, but this week in particular was like, okay, I know I need to take a prescription of rest, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to do it, or I am going to rest. I'm not going to go hit. I'm not going to even lift today. I'm going to feel pretty good about just going home and resting. And a couple teammates were like, hey, we're going to hit after at this time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, I'm pulling into the parking lot and I go hit. And later that night, I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, dude, I got to be running a 105 fever. Turns out I wasn't. I don't know what was happening. My belief is that, again, it was my body shooting off a couple warning shots, like, stand down. Like, it was like an FBI interrogation, kind of like talking down like a terrorist type thing. And I'm like, okay, I get it. So basically the rest of this week, I have not lifted, which is hard to do because you're like, it's just so ingrained in you that you're like, all right, like, that's just part of the gig, man.
Yeah.
I'm a personal trainer. You work at a gym. We know that lifting is just, it's part of the job.
It's just, for me too, it's just part of my, like, routine mentally.
Yeah,
I do it so I don't choke anybody.
Oh my God, I love that. But so yeah, I think that has, it's paying slowly. Like, I can feel my body sort of like relaxing, almost that survival mode where it's like, okay, we can go to sleep tonight without the barbarians like raiding the camp. It feels like that. But it's been a very cool sort of output week. Obviously, you and I met on Thursday. We try to meet every once in a while with some other writers and talk about stuff we're working on. You're working on a screenplay. I'm working on a screenplay. We're definitely the definition of performative. So, but so that's been really cool.
I was writing my screenplay at a laundromat like a true starving artist.
I love it. But
smoking from a pipe.
Yes, dude, that is so fun. No, it'd actually be funnier if you were just like, like it was your fifth cigarette. You got like some whiskey next to you inside of a flask.
Yep,
dude. But so it just feels really good to sort of just be in this mode where you're doing all the things, right? Like it gets hard. I was just telling you off air that I was feeling like my burnout syndrome is like, kind of coming to a close, but I can feel myself being edgy. Last night, baseball game, I wanted to chirp, I wanted to say things, and I'm like, you know what? The enemy of yourself is ego, and wherever that's coming from is just not going to it's not going to make you better. So keeping the mouth shut. But yeah, it feels really good to be in this position of just like, hey, I'm doing all these things and I feel really good about them. And the key is just keeping that consistency up, especially with all the things that both you and I do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But as far as toys go, man, it's been 40 days and 40 nights, kind of biblical level of just like, all right, I'm receiving messages from heaven, of visions of toys that are coming, and God is telling me, be patient, for it is coming.
We got 1 week.
We got the Ekman's Toy Show coming up in San Antonio.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, outside of that, I have not bought any toys. And so I've just been like, all right, let me save my bullets for that. Because obviously we live in Austin. Any toy track is going to be hours on end. And it's just like not the right time or the right place for that. But very excited to get to the Ekman's Toy Show and fulfill a prophecy.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
But how about you, man?
I'm looking forward to that too. It's been a good week. Obviously a lot of work. Then hit all the martial arts I needed to hit thus far. I've got my private lesson tomorrow.
Did you talk to him about the? Because he was like sending you motivational quotes and stuff.
What Christian's talking about is so generally I go on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I do both kickboxing and advanced class on those days. So it's a 2+ hour workout each time, ranging from extreme to extremely extreme, and plus my own workouts on the side. And so there are days where I am just not capable. I can't do it. So this last Tuesday, I let my instructor know, hey, I'm not coming in today. I'll make it up tomorrow. And he was like, well, what if you just do half? And I was like, bro, I just can't do it.
Yeah.
So I came in the next day, did that class, then did the normal day after that, Thursday, and that was particularly insane. Just absolutely off the wall level of like output. And rather than telling him, hey man, like quit sending me motivational quotes and stuff, like
he thought you were like losing steam.
Yeah, he thought I was just falling off.
Yeah, you were falling off.
And as a trainer, I get it.
Yeah.
But I was not falling off.
Yeah.
I was being smart.
Yeah.
He is not a reasonable person. So you told me, just talk to him. Danielle told me, just talk to him. I said, it's like standing on the shore trying to reason with a tidal wave.
Yeah.
He's not a rational person. He doesn't, and I love him to death. What I mean by that is, when it comes to the things that he's passionate about and exercise and doing martial arts, he believes since he can go 24 hours a day without sleep or stopping for 50 straight years, everyone can.
Yeah.
Right? He's a Terminator. He has no remorse. He doesn't feel pain, and he absolutely will not stop ever until you are dead. So what I did instead was the exact opposite, and I praised him for keeping me going because that's what he wanted to hear.
Yeah.
So
keep him off the back a little bit.
But so yesterday was a rest day. Today is a rest day. I am crushed. Tomorrow is the hardest workout of my week. But what I've been kind of focused on too is this writing project that you're talking about. I'm not going to get into it, but in doing that, there's input and output creatively, right? So I've had to do a little bit of market research or inspiration seeking kind of stuff. And last night I watched Reservoir Dogs, one of my all-time favorite movies. It's getting better with age. I like it now more than I ever have. It shot up to number 2 on my Quentin Tarantino list.
Wow. What's the number 1?
Kill Bill Volume 2.
Okay.
I haven't seen Kill Bill: The Whole Bloody Affair. I have the utmost confidence that The Whole Bloody Affair will just be number 1, and I can stop saying 1 and 2, right? But I spotted Iron Man and the Thing Marvel superheroes figures on the table in that movie.
Whoa!
Yeah,
really? What?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't watched it. I watched it a long time ago.
So Tim Roth's character,
Okay.
Mr. Orange, is an undercover cop. Spoilers for a 35-year-old movie, and they show a lot of him like going over this script about a story about a drug deal to try to sound real, and they show him like in his apartment pacing back and forth practicing the script, and he has like Silver Surfer posters on the wall and stuff, and then he reaches for his keys, and next to his keys is the Thing and Iron Man.
Wow.
Toy Biz superheroes on the table, and then he's explaining the other criminals to another cop, and he's trying to explain the main guy, Joe, the guy that's putting the job together, and he's like, well, what's he like? And he's like, man, he's really cool, but he goes, you remember the Fantastic Four? And the guy's like, yeah. With the stretchy guy and the invisible bitch? And he's like, yeah. And he goes, the Thing. He looks just like the Thing. And he does look like 70-year-old Michael Chiklis. Like,
wow.
It's pretty crazy. Like, and this is long before there was like Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Right? So pretty crazy. I was like, quite a bit of Marvel references in that movie.
That's so interesting. Like, I know he's like a comic book guy.
Quentin Tarantino. Yeah.
But that's funny. That must have been just
it doesn't really influence anything after that.
Well, it's funny because it's like, but that something influenced him to put that in there.
Because he was like obviously younger, and it was like fresher in his mind.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't recall it coming up in any other of his things.
Yeah, because it's like it's not really a cop trope, right?
Yeah.
It's like he's a cop. But then it's like, oh, he's got all these like Marvel comic type stuff. Yeah. So that is really interesting. I would like to learn more about that. But another Toy Biz figure ending up in a movie, man. Ending up in a movie.
I knew you would dig that.
Of course.
All right, you wanna pitch some movies?
I do. Sorry. Cut that. Just swallow wrong. Oh my god.
Oh God! Are you gonna live?
Yeah.
Fisher-Price presents The Great Adventures Castle, where imagination is king.
Uh-oh, the army of giants! Prepare the castle!
Ready, fire!
Now take that! And that!
I hate when that happens. Attack, men!
Look out, below!
The adventure never ends at The Great Adventures Castle from Fisher-Price.
Now, can I be the good guys?
No way.
All right, we are going to pitch you guys movie ideas based on toy lines. I've had one in my head for like years and years, and I remember that I originally came up with like a whole this is how I would do it. I just didn't remember what that was, so I had to do it again. I don't know if it matches or not. You've got one that you came up with for this. I hope. You look like maybe you haven't.
It was a fascinating journey, but continue.
Okay. So I'll jump in. I am going to, and I've brought this up a bunch of times on the podcast, but just not very specifically like this. I want a G.I. Joe movie. And I know what you guys are thinking. There are G.I. Joe movies, and they're ass. Hear me out.
What's his name? Kenny Powers?
Yeah. He's making another G.I.
He's making another one.
Yeah, he's making a G.I. Joe movie. So I'm going to pretend that's not happening.
Right.
I forget what the concept of that one is, but I remember being like, all right. I wasn't like, hell yeah. I was like, I guess we'll wait and see. I probably should have looked that up since I was going to do this, but I didn't.
Hey, I mean, that's good though. So if you have like converging ideas, then you have as good as ideas as whatever his name is.
So you have G.I. Joe: Rise of Cobra, which is, I watched that like, I don't know, 3-4 months ago just to like cross it off my list. I knew it was really bad. I just forgot just how bad it is. Terrible CG, terrible acting, terrible casting, terrible ideas in the sense that like they put on these like weird armored mech suits that make them like, they're like Iron Man suits basically.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with anything.
Right.
That just like, I would say 3/4 of the cast or more, you look at them and go,
why?
That's not correct. The G.I. Joe headquarters is entirely green screen. They're just walking through a room that doesn't exist, and it looks so bad. Like, Joseph Gordon-Levitt as Cobra Commander, what on earth are we doing?
That's weird. I never knew that.
Marlon Wayans is, who is he? Roadblock? Somebody.
Okay.
Just not.
It was just the Hollywood component of trying to do everything. Like you said with He-Man, they were ashamed of their own thing.
Of their property.
Yeah.
And then the second G.I. Joe, can't remember the name of it, the one with The Rock, that one is more G.I. Joe. Not all the way, but you do have like Snake Eyes versus Storm Shadow ninja fight on a mountainside, and like that's cool. There are moments of that movie that are cool. The movie's not good, but it's not even close to as bad as the first one. And then the movie Snake Eyes is just a waste of time. If you told me for certain that script had nothing to do with Snake Eyes or G.I. Joe, and then they just decided in order to get it made, they just tacked that on, I'd believe you.
Yeah.
Like, it's such a waste of time. Wholly unmemorable. So here's my idea. G.I. Joe Classified. The movie is literally called G.I. Joe Classified. Why? Because you're already producing a toy line called G.I. Joe Classified that has tons of fans and support for it. So we're going to basically go reverse order from the 80s. In the 80s, all of our favorite cartoons were because they were meant to sell toys. Now we're going to take a toy line and make it a movie. But we're going to steal inspiration from G.I. Joe Real American Hero, the cartoon that is inspiring the toys in which to make the movie from, right? You follow?
I mean, that's genius.
It's not exactly groundbreaking.
Gosh.
It's more of those, why hasn't this been done?
Yeah.
So you take the cast of the comics and the cartoon of A Real American Hero. You wouldn't call it that now because the things are global.
Yeah.
But it's Duke, it's Snake Eyes, it's Lady J, it's Scarlet, it's Shipwreck and Storm Shadow and Destro and all the classic characters, right? And here, this is going to be wild. Are you sitting down? You make them look like what they looked like in the cartoon.
Insert explosion.
With the same way they do with modern superhero movies. Obviously, a guy dressed as like a cartoon sailor, that's going to need a little bit of cooling up.
I mean, he's wearing a blue button-down shirt and a white hat and a pair of blue slacks, right? Like,
yeah. You just change the colors a little bit.
You don't even have to change the colors. That's just what he's wearing.
Change the fabric a little bit. I don't mean change it. I mean like what shade is it?
Right. Yeah.
Make it look cool and not
bright,
not Village People.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? That's the overarching thing. Just if it looks Village People, make it look militant. Right?
Yeah,
just shift it away from the Village People.
Vito on The Sopranos. Yeah, apparently he was wearing like a leather costume whenever they saw him in the gay bar. He's like, he sounded like he was dressed like one of the Village People.
And then in the cartoon, they're using lasers. You change lasers to bullets, right? Or you could keep it lasers.
Keep the lasers, dude.
And it would still be sick.
That's so sick. That is sick. That's good.
And then you have it. All it is battles and wars.
Yeah.
And these movies want to make it more than that. And it doesn't need to be. You have good guys and bad guys. What if it was just good guys and bad guys? We understand how this works. Have you ever heard the word verisimilitude?
Yes, but I don't know what it means.
So that is a word that I might have just butchered it. That is a word that Richard Donner came up with on the set. Well, he didn't come up with it, but he kind of like used it as like a motto on the set of Superman. And no, I got it right. Verisimilitude. On the set of Superman. And basically what it means is taking the silly and dedicate yourself to treating it seriously.
Yeah.
Not making it silly. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For instance, X-Men 2000. That is not a silly movie.
Correct.
And we have said, why are they not wearing yellow spandex? Because they took the silliness out of it. As where Deadpool left it in and treated it seriously. Right? That's the difference.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm talking about here. So we take the cast of the G.I. Joe show and the toys, we put them in their original costumes, but we treat them seriously even though we know that it's silly. This is what Motu did not do. And then you just make it good guys versus bad guys. With all the sci-fi and all the vehicles, right? The cool thing about G.I. Joe is the vehicles are just vehicles. The jets are just jets. The hovercrafts are just hovercrafts. They just happen to be very cool vehicles to boys.
Yes.
And you just load up a movie with those. And wars and battles in the sky and on the ground and all this kind of stuff. Here's my brain trust that's going to make this thing for us. Composer for the music, because the music's super important. First thing I did was look up who made the music on the actual cartoon, because it absolutely rips still to this day. Like, I would listen to just that music. Unfortunately, they've all passed away. So we're going to get Daniel Pemberton to do it, who did the Spider-Verse movies, which, like, obviously those soundtracks have sold, triple platinum. He's amazing. He also did Motu, which the one good thing about that movie is the soundtrack. He knew what he was doing. Nobody else did.
Yeah.
We're going to get James Wan to direct it.
Ooh, that's interesting.
You know why?
Because of Aquaman, and he had no shame directing Aquaman.
Because of Aquaman.
Can I pitch another director really quick?
No.
Zack Snyder.
No. Go to hell.
Zack Snyder.
No. Zack Snyder. I'm not even going to entertain that.
That would be a god tier movie.
Okay, I'm not even going to entertain that.
Okay, continue.
James Wan understood. First of all, do you want to know whose movie made the most money in the entire DCEU?
Yeah, I mean, I know.
James Wan. Aquaman.
He also had a cover of Toto, Africa.
That's true.
When they landed on the beach.
True. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not calling it perfect. But he went, this thing has this tone, and so this movie will have that tone. That's what I want. I want, is it dumb? Is an octopus playing the drums dumb? Yup. But that's what happens in Aquaman. So here it is.
Yeah.
It's no shame in the game. And then being able to carry out big, giant, fantastical things, right? Which obviously he can do. I think he's done a couple of Fast and Furious also.
I think he was Fast and the Furious and then a horror guy.
Okay. Yeah. So, and then the writer, Larry Hama, the guy who wrote Real American Hero comic books that became the show, and I think he was military. He's done Wolverine. He's incredibly accomplished. Give him the pen.
Yeah.
And then have him hand it off to James Wan and go make a verisimilitude G.I. Joe classified that is meant to push toys but has a serious tone of a stupid thing. And give me that cast of figures doing that.
Yeah. The funny thing about the whole let's avoid doing what these characters actually are and what they look like and stuff. It's like they're pulling the silly out, but then you have movies like Sin City, which is just this is like right off the pages, and nobody's thought to question why is the movie why is this so stylized or whatever. Everybody was like, this is groundbreaking.
This is my problem with Hollywood taking the things that we love and talk about, is that you have some executive in an ivory tower who has never picked up that thing, that video game, that book, that comic, that toy, whatever it is that they're making the movie of. Then they make decisions based on previous history and study groups and what makes money, and they don't ever consider the idea of why was that thing successful in the first place.
Yeah.
I think Aquaman's dumb, usually. Like, Aquaman, the character, his timeline is kind of stupid more often than not. But you can't deny it was created, it was popular enough to stick around, it became a thing, it has an appeal to an audience. James Wan went, okay, what is that appeal? There's a reason it's been around. Let's do that. As where, I keep going back to X-Men, they didn't want to make an X-Men movie. Tim Burton didn't want to make a Batman movie. He just happened to have a dark sensibility, so it worked. You know what I mean? There's so many of these properties where you can tell the creator was like, I'm going to do my thing. I just never understand that. I just don't get it.
Yeah, it's is it just work for you?
G.I. Joe, the existing G.I. Joe movies, it's just, it's a popular, title, so let's throw it out there.
Yeah.
like that sort of thing. So Hollywood, if you're listening, Kenny Powers, hire me. Bro, Hasbro, bro, hire me.
Yes, of course. So we came up with this idea, I think it was like on Wednesday, and it was like light bulb. And I was like, that's it. That's going to be one of the segments. And you were like, oh, I've got the G.I. Joe thing already. And I was like, perfect. And then I was like, I have.
Dial tone.
I have. And then I sat there and I thought long and hard. I even looked at all my toys and I was like, what would be good? Batman or... and it was just like, well, everything has something. And I was like looking at... like Power Rangers and I was looking at Max Steel, and I was like, okay, but Max Steel is essentially... Max Steel would be sick. Max Steel would be sick, but it's essentially Mission Impossible, right? Yeah. Like, I would really have
Mission Impossible sick.
Yeah, it is, but it's like, it's something that already exists. Yeah. And Max Steel would be that perfect combination of Hollywood being... already, because it's already pretty straightforward, but it would be Hollywood taking it another step and making it freaking Agent Cody Banks or something like that, which I used to love that movie.
Which is also sick.
It's also sick. So I was like, okay, what can I do that could be different? What doesn't already have that type of property? And then I thought very long and hard, and it was really difficult because I was like, oh, let me attack the Turtles then. Because the Turtles movies, I think I haven't watched like the most recent one. I know you like it.
You're stepping on sacred ground.
You're stepping on sacred ground, but my first initial thought process with the Turtles was like, okay, every movie outside of the original was like, how do we not make them look like how they looked in the cartoon that everybody loves? And they were like, the Michael Bay ones, right? Looked terrible. And then I realized, I'm like, I don't have anything for that. I don't have an idea. I don't know enough about the universe and the characters or whatever to like write something. So I dug deeper within and I pulled out probably something we've talked about before in passing, but probably the most random idea anybody is gonna have about not a movie.
Is it The Core and you're just taking my idea but putting it on Amazon instead of in the theater?
I thought about it. I was like, that would be so hilarious if you did G.I. Joe.
The Core, it's your idea but on Tubi.
That's good. That's good. But I thought to myself, how can I make this thing a movie? And then the studio reached out and said, maybe not a movie. What about a TV series? And I was like, well, okay, let me think about that. And as I broke down the idea and thought about the TV component, I asked myself, is it animated? And the answer is yes. It would be an animated TV series. And it made me think about, the impact that animation and cartoons have had on us and how on all of us. It's been the thing that guided us through this universe. And it made me think also about how a lot of cartoons, especially in today's day and age, are just like, hey, he's got a square head that is also kind of a triangle. His mouth is on the side of his face, and his best friend's a puppet, and the puppet is a dog.
And it's CG, but it looks like it's made of paper.
Yeah, like it's just so, like, it's like, who does that appeal to? Who grew up and said like, oh, I'm so inspired by Picasso that I wanted to draw this. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just is not going to work for me. The idea and the IP property is incredibly random. The Fisher-Price Great Adventures Castle set.
Okay. Let me make sure I'm receiving you correctly. You want to make an ongoing series about the Fisher-Price Castle.
About the Fisher-Price Castle.
Okay.
Because regardless if you know what the name is, I didn't. Whenever I first interacted with it, I had no idea what it was. I didn't know what it was called, who made it, whatever. But it found me, and I found it, right? I tell a story about going to a thrift store in Bastrop, and there was this little, like, walled-in little centerpiece where, like, kids could play. And my mom had to pick me up and put me over the edge, like, put me over the wall, because it had to be high enough to keep the kids in while the mom shopped. And guess what was in there? To me, when I saw it, I thought it was, like, up to my eyes. So I don't know how young I was.
Yeah.
But they come with the little knights if you are somebody who's listening to this, you have seen it before. You have crossed paths with it at least one time in your life. In fact, a member at the gym, when I told them about the toys, initially they're like, there's one thing, I don't even remember what it is, but it was like this castle set. I said, I know exactly what you're talking about. And later that night, they messaged me like on Instagram or something like that and sent me a photo like, this is the one I was talking about. And it's the tiny little knights. And the knights are like little 3-inch figures. They got big feet and they have like it's like
Fisher Price. Yeah.
It's Fisher Price. It's definitely like for little kids. But when you found it at the time, for some reason, the imagination piece of it.
We've talked about it before. That's one of the few, like real few, like hen's teeth, rare, little baby stuff that is like, yeah, I'll admit that's sick.
It definitely like, it's like everybody's going to pay respect to it.
Yeah.
The first one that I saw when I pulled it up here, I don't know if it was like mint in box or whatever, but it was like $4,000 or something like that. Yep. So it's definitely like on people's radar of being like this very rare thing. There were cannonballs that came with it, all this stuff. And there were gold knights, and then there were like not gold. They wore like gold armor, and then knights that wore black armor. And the black armor, I guess, were the bad guys. I didn't really know. I was like, is there lore to this? Mm-hmm. Or is it just like, hey, this is a cool concept or whatever? When I researched it, I found a video that was like the CD-ROM playthrough. I guess it was a game first. And I was like, all right, let me just watch this, I guess, just to see if I can gain some ideas on it. And it is absolutely the definition of like, your parents don't let you play video games, but you can play this one because they bought it from the library.
Because it's adjacent to education.
Yeah, they rented it from the library. Very bad, very bad. But the overall concept is essentially these knights, the bad guys, they're dressed in the black armor. They show up, they essentially take over the kingdom. They lock the king away in a dungeon, and all of the other people are dispersed across the land or whatever. And then one guy has to essentially wrangle all of the knights together to take back the kingdom, right? So that concept is good. Everything else about it, like I made it 5 minutes in, and it was like however long, because I'm like, I can't do this anymore. Because it's just like some jester that pops out of like the corner, and it's like, hey, how's it going? Whatever. And then you got to go like talk to the blacksmith to get and you have the king's sacred seal. I don't know. It's a seal, like a baby seal.
Oh, I was picturing like a crest. You mean an animal
it's a baby seal. Yeah, I don't get that. But my thought process is you do that, and unfortunately, like, I am not going to make the animation style, no matter how hard they would want to be like, let's do the little like goofy, quirky, big feet with your nose hanging out of your helmet. I'm not going to do that. I'm gonna make it more serious. I'm gonna go with the animation, because at the end of the day, dude, it's like when cartoons would be simple. They didn't have to be that complex. They didn't have to be complicated. They just needed to be like, this is an adventure story. The series would be called Great Adventures, and it would be like a dark fantasy, like series about these like two warring kingdoms or whatever it is, right? Like the whole season could be about them taking back their kingdom. I definitely would have a different art style. So I was looking up, I was like, okay, who did this art style? And everything still had this sort of cartoonish effect that I was not looking for. And then I'm
picturing The Hobbit.
So that's like Ralph Bakshi, right? Yeah. So that's not bad, because initially my first idea was I was going to do like the Fire and Ice, where it was like very much dark fantasy, which is beautiful and amazing. But to me, I was like, I don't know if that could be like a kid's TV show. So I started to, but I was like, I had to look back, because from like the 70s or 80s and like 90s, they were like, we're going to make them look just like they did on the comic book page. Yeah. And then it wasn't until like later on where they were like, big O freaking head, big O freaking feet. Yeah. So I think I would go with the studio that animated X-Men.
Sick.
Yes, because, and I believe it's called ACOM.
X-Men 97. No, or the OG X-Men.
I'll go OG. Okay. I go OG. Which is a believe it was like an animation studio in Korea.
Most of them.
Yeah, Spider-Man was also like a Japanese animation studio.
Because it can get done faster that way.
So basically would do something like that, and then I would just make the same story and the same concept, like the armor, the gold armor, the castle, like the battles they would have. And
it's like a sort of thing that has been put down. There's not really medieval adventures anymore.
Yeah. Man, when I was younger, especially like growing up home, oh, by the way, I was going to save this for later. I'm going to air it on PBS. I'm going to throw all my, this is a throwback. This is a throwback. So all my dogs out there, like myself, who did not have cable TV. You were only relying, well, too
bad PBS got defunded and went away, but brilliant idea.
Yes, yeah.
Now Oscar the Grouch is actually homeless.
Yes. Did you ever see, probably not, Redwall? Have you ever heard of it? It was
I had cable.
Okay. It was the definition of...
I was busy watching Bikini Off-Road Adventure on Cinemax while you were watching Arthur and Redwall.
Yeah. And let me tell you, there's a big difference between the two. But Redwall was a animated, like, medieval kind of fantasy story, except they were all rodents, essentially. Okay. Like squirrels and... like mice and stuff like that. It was cool. Like the fantasy element of it was cool. It was hard for me to get into because I was like, they don't look like superheroes.
Yeah.
It's a mouse with a sword.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't need a skunk and a badger that carry an axe. Like it was hard for me to get into, and all of the other lame homeschool kids were fired up on it. So yeah. I was, I had to be the wolf on his own. So definitely airing on PBS to shout out all my non-cable believers. Not believers, just the unfortunate
just uncool.
The uncool people. I completely forgot where I was going before the cable part, but
you were just talking about like the very few like medieval like adventure things.
And again, growing up in homeschooled and in the church, there were like these little animated series that we'd watch, like one called McGee and Me, which I know there's probably one person here that's like, oh my God, my mind just got blown because they haven't thought about that in forever. Which this was a live action TV show where the guy had a little animated friend named like McGee, I guess, and he was just like a, hey, what's the big ideal kind of guy. And then there would be other shows called like Adventures in Odyssey, which it was just like an animated adventure kind of series, whatever, or The Book of Virtue, things along those lines that just had like a positive message. This one it's just going to be a cool story about knights fighting knights and dragons, and when you got to go like every
good guys versus bad guys.
It's good guys versus bad guys. They're going to go get this person, but they have to cross through this lake, and there's a sea monster in the lake, and that's who they got to fight, right? Like, it's just going to be something that you would pretend when you were younger, and it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And then I would actually produce a toy line from this concept as well. I'd probably go more like 5 or 6 inch figures, and it would just be called The Great Adventures, Castle, or whatever. I'd have to come up with something like Knights and something like that, like Wizards or something, to make it a little bit more, give it an actual name. Yeah. But you would just do that, and it's just simple. Like, I thought about Mystic Knights, but Mystic Knights is like Power Ranger, where like people find
also really dark.
Yeah, it's like people find this thing, and then they become the knights and stuff, and it's just like, no, that is what it is.
Yeah.
There is another thing where I would pitch another series for the same thing. It'd be Great Adventures, but it would be pirate, because there was a pirate ship as well.
Pirates of the Dark Waters, dude.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Because it would just be like this cool concept that you could just watch and you would look forward to.
I love it.
The art would be amazing. It'd be dark fantasy, so it'd be like, like a purple sky, and then the castle, and then everything would just be what you would want it to be.
I love it.
And then,
I love it.
Yeah. And I'd get, it'd be PBS. I probably wouldn't get paid very much. Right. I'd probably be beefing with Mark Brown and Mr. Rogers, for screen time. You know what I'm saying?
It's on right after Bob Ross.
It's on right before Bob Ross. But yeah. And I think, I might be the only one that thinks it's cool, but I would love to have something like that, when I was younger.
Any kind of medieval castle-y stuff has just never been my thing.
Yeah.
But I don't hate on it at all. And I'm down for until you started talking about it, I was like, where'd that go?
Yeah.
That used to be like cowboys, knights. There was stuff that was just like evergreen.
Yes.
Where'd that go? Like no one cares anymore. It didn't it's actual history. It didn't have
That's a good question because you're right. There used to be
it was like dinosaurs, cowboys, knights, pirates. That stuff never was gonna go away, and some of it has.
Oof, man! Now you're giving me other ideas too, where it's like you could do anything. Great adventures on the sea, great adventures in the castle, great adventures in prehistoric times, whatever. There's all kinds of directions to go with it. But it's just a love letter to, obviously, PBS type shows. But it's also a love letter just to, the classics that never failed us. Because at the end of the day, when you were outside, you either picked up a stick that looked like a gun or you picked up a stick that looked like a sword.
Yep. Yeah. 100%. All right. Excellent pitch. It's funded. Let's go to the news.
New at 11, buyer beware. A local family is outraged over a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles toy that they bought for their son. It says a variety of phrases, but the family believes one of them includes a swear word that starts with a B.
It's only fitting that we start with G.I. Joe Classified in the news today, since it was announced that the brand new Snake Eyes and Jinx 2-pack is going to launch on Target for the Geek Out event on September 18th. Very cool 2-pack. Jinx and Snake Eyes are both really cool characters. This Snake Eyes is pretty dope with blue accents and a wolf mask, I guess.
Wolf meets Oni, Japanese demon style.
It's kind of tough to tell if it has a long snout or not because it's just a render.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. Jinx looks really cool. She's got a ninja mask and a bow and all that kind of stuff, and all the things you would expect. G.I. Joe Classified stays killing it, obviously. Moving over to McFarlane. McFarlane showed off a Batman and Robin 2-pack from the classic Wonderful TV show. So you got your Adam West and Burt Ward type looking McFarlanes. They do, though, look like they changed the likeness so that they won't have to pay those actors.
Are they alive still?
You still have to pay their estate.
Oh, okay.
Right? But it looks like they didn't use their names and that they changed the likeness ever so slightly.
Wow.
To me, that's some conjecture. That one goes up for pre-order on August 25th. And they do still look cool, but a little bit of shady business. McFarlane also gave us a glimpse at Deathstroke from the Arkham Origins game.
That looks sick.
It looks real sick. And that game is pretty underrated in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And we all remember the trailer for that game.
Yeah.
And how dope Deathstroke was in that trailer. Right? So this one's pretty cool. That one's an August 26th pre-order at all of the retailers. Going over to NECA, I'm going to bring them up super frequently. They showed off a new animated TMNT figure, a 7-inch Tempestra. Easy for me to say. Tempestra. I do not remember this character at all. Looks like she breaks out of an arcade cabinet, like she was an arcade character that came to life. So if you are a cartoon NECA collector of TMNT, you got to get that. Boss Fight Studios. We almost never talk about them, but they teased and then ultimately revealed a new Ultimo dragon in his WWE look and attire, this metallic blue. It's a I don't know what they call it, but it's their version of an Ultimate style figure, and it looks amazing.
Do you collect any of those lines?
This Ultimo dragon behind me, the green one, is Boss Fight Studios.
Oh, okay.
It's the only Boss Fight Studios figure in here because he's the only character they've made that is on my I love that guy list. I want them to take over AEW. They make great figures. and with more popularity and funding, they would do a better job than they're already doing.
Wow.
They might be able to bring their price down a little bit too if they were doing a little bit more mass producing.
Yeah.
Because these are pricey.
Oh, really?
Yeah. For what they are in comparison to somebody like Mattel that makes them
Just mass.
200 times more of them, you know what I'm saying? But this Ultimo Dragon looks incredible, and the pre-orders are live right now. And it comes in this sick box that's like holographic.
Yeah, that does look cool.
Very, very cool. Going over to Mondo, they showed off two, like, whoa. No, sorry. Mondo showed off the Shredder. This Shredder, dude, is... oh my god. I don't know if it's in reference to like a specific comic or something like that, or if it's their version of Shredder. But he kind of has, with all the interchangeable heads and all these sorts of things, he's like a combination of the 80s cartoon and the dopest samurai who ever walked the earth. Like three swords. He comes with a tiny version of himself, which I don't need
get that
at all. But I guess that's just Mondo doing Mondo things. But like the unmasked head, he
looks like a Tekken character or something like that. Like
he has the little communicator TV screen that's from the cartoon, but his design is way more like aggressive and adult, and like you said this last week. He looks like you could kill somebody with the figure. Mm-hmm. Like you could be charged with involuntary manslaughter if you leave this thing on the floor.
Dude, the cool thing about it is like you take away the helmet, he just becomes anything else.
Samurai,
anything else you want it
that
to be.
That was my thought initially too. I was like, ooh, dude, I could get this just as a sick figure.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't even have to be a Ninja Turtle figure.
That doesn't look cheap at all, though.
No.
That looks like you're dropping $2+ for sure.
Mezco in their 1/12 showed off a Kingpin.
Yeah, it looks sick.
Looks very... I don't even know how to describe it. He almost looks like Shadow King to me. But, you know, Mezco doing Mezco things, like a little bit more of like a realistic-ish, comic realistic Kingpin. It's not really a version that you've seen from something. But...
You know, it's kind of funny.
$145?
He does look cool. I think he would be pretty sick to have stacked up against a Daredevil figure or Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I was like, who does he look like to me? He looks like somebody. I don't know if I've found it all the way. He's like a mixture of Chris Farley in the face. Like some facial expressions are a little Chris Farley-esque.
He looks like Jack Black.
He does look like Jack Black. That might be who I was thinking of. But honestly, if you gave him like a little bit of grass on top, like some hair on top with the receding hairline, you got yourself a Tony Soprano, man.
Ooh.
Look at it. Like look at some of them. He kind of has a look to him. He kind of looks like Tony.
Maybe your customizing career is going to start with a $145 figure.
Man, I'm not gonna lie. Like that could be fun.
And then lastly, did you see the BigBad launch pad?
No.
So the BigBadToyStore, or I guess I should say the BigBad Workshop, announced the BigBad launch pad. This is their Mattel Creations, their Hasbro Pulse, whatever you call it, their crowdfunding thing. And so what they're doing, from what I can understand from the email and the video that they put out, it's... Maybe I wasn't fully paying attention, or maybe it just wasn't really telling me specifically what it is, but it's their version of the crowdfunded Kickstarter project thing that everybody is now doing. And what BigBadToyStore is doing is I think it's a subscription.
Okay.
And then you get to contribute to ideas. Like you get to pick what is getting funded and what is not getting funded, and which things are going to get made and which things are not going to get made. So I think it'll be kind of like a similar idea to the Hasbro... What is the Hasbro one called?
Pulse or HasLab?
HasLab. It's going to be similar to HasLab, but like multiple choice.
That's cool.
Is the impression that I'm getting. Probably more information to follow, or once it starts, then we'll go, oh, that's what it is. But that's my impression of it, is that it's like... HasLab, but multiple choice. So
Okay.
you get a sense of like control of like choosing, like voting system, so to speak. Yeah, that was all the news that I found. Did you have anything?
Because I don't follow Big Bad Toy Store, but their NPC.
Oh
thing,
yeah, the NPC line.
like just looking at that right now is pretty cool, man. Like,
yeah, they've got like a news anchor.
they've got they have a mob boss, and then it comes with cats, and then but money, guns. It looks like if the bonus unlock would be another head and like a bottle of whiskey or something like that. Then the other one would be a news anchor that comes with stuff a news anchor would have, and then randomly a samurai sword, baseball bat, dynamite, and some fists, and then cheerleader, and then the freaking coolest one is a SWAT commander.
Yeah.
Dude, that looks so sick, man.
Yeah, they do a great job of. There's a few different companies now making background characters and side things, which like they do the fans and like that. But those NPCs are very cool. All right, that's the news.
Slam into it with WWE and Mattel.
You want action?
Get the new lineup of awesome rings. New superstar action figures with serious detail. Rey Mysterio, CM Punk, and Triple H. And be your own superstar with these new championship belts. Collect them all.
Come and get it.
Now I am going to rebuild some of my personal favorite matches, my top 10 wrestling matches of all time. And then I'm going to tell you which figures you need in order to recreate these matches. This is for a few different reasons. One, I'm trying to convert you. I want you to be interested in wrestling because it does have stuff that's like in your wheelhouse.
Yeah.
You told me you were looking at the old school figures.
I said like that's my like I look at them and I'm like, man, there's something there.
Yeah. And then also, I really haven't like just stopped and been like, we're going to talk about wrestling on this show 60 episodes in, which is crazy because it's the main thing that I collect.
Yeah.
So when I realized, wait a minute, I haven't done that. I was like, how is that possible? I get messages from the Toy Soldiers at Mighty Champions like virtually daily concerning wrestling, like among other things.
Yeah.
But like virtually daily. What do you think about this? Or remember that? Or like, oh, I had those DVDs or whatever, right? Like, so we're going to talk about wrestling and my top 10 in no particular order, somewhat of an order, but not strict order. My top 10 matches ever. Up first, Bret Hart versus Steve Austin, WrestleMania 13, 1997. So let me set the stage for you. Bret Hart was out with an injury, and while he was out with an injury, you have the rise of Steve Austin. Shows up looking badass, absolutely ruthless, beating the ever-living crap out of everybody, cutting promos where he's cussing, telling them go drink alcohol again because that was the last time you were any good. He's like the first guy that's like, whoa, you can't be saying this stuff. That's not allowed, right?
Yeah.
Then you have Bret Hart, who is like the Canadian flag-waving good guy. He's like Captain Canada, right?
Okay.
Like, and he's like, hey, what's going on with the morals of this company? Like, people are supposed to be able to look at us like role models.
Interesting.
And Steve Austin's like, if you put the letter S in front of Hitman, that's what I think of you. Right?
Was he the first bad boy?
Sort of, yeah.
Like, because it's like Hulk. He was a drink your milk kind of guy.
Bad guys.
Okay.
But they weren't. They were cartoonish bad guys. He was like a bad motherfucker in real life.
Yeah.
That's like, wait a minute, this is different, right?
Yeah.
And to tie it all in, what you just said, WWF Jack's Pacific Bone Crunching Action Bad Boys is the rookie Stone Cold Steve Austin figure.
Bing, bing, bing.
So they have a match in which it's like a real back and forth. Like, and Bret Hart's also one of the first people to recognize in reality, this is the guy. We should be doing things with him, right? So let me work with him.
Interesting.
They have a match. Steve Austin's finisher at the time, because he was still transitioning from being his previous character, was this like submission hold, like the choke. He puts it on Bret Hart. Bret Hart rolls over backwards and pins him because he refused to let go of his own hold. Steve Austin doesn't like that outcome, right? You didn't actually beat me. So we need to have another match. The feud is over boiling at this point, with the fans cheering Steve Austin now because culture has changed, and the fans booing Bret Hart because he's whining about how we should be good guys. He didn't change anything he was saying from before. He's saying good guys should be good guys, kids should look up to us, and he's getting booed for it. So they have this match as a submission match. It is maybe considered the best WWE match ever. It's up there. Back and forth, they're using cords, they're hitting each other with TVs. Ken Shamrock, the world's most dangerous man, is the special guest referee because he's the only person who can contain this, right? And Steve Austin gets hit with the ring bell. It splits his head open. He's bald, right? So there's no hair to catch the blood. It's just blood everywhere. Bret Hart puts him in the sharpshooter. It's a submission match, and he's a 5-time world champion with the sharpshooter. And Steve Austin is yelling and screaming and writhing in agony, and blood is running down his face and dripping off of his front teeth because he's like screaming, and as he's doing it, it's forcing the blood to come out more. Ken Shamrock's in his face going, do you submit? Do you submit? Do you submit? And he just passes out. He just goes out instead of tapping out, which has been recreated hundreds of times since with no effect. When Austin did it, it was the first, and it was like, that's the toughest human being on God's green earth. And what they did was they went out, they had the best match in WWE history, and they did what's called a double switch. When the match ended, Steve Austin was firmly a fan favorite, and Bret Hart was firmly booed from that point forward, right? They like went into the pods and switched sides. So it's good business, it's good wrestling, and it's good attires. They both look awesome. Actually, all three of them look awesome. So you have Steve Austin looks like Steve Austin. Like, he had early days established his look, black trunks, black boots. I don't think he has knee braces yet here. I think his knees are like halfway decent. Maybe one knee brace. Black vest. He looks like what Steve Austin looks like. Bret Hart might be the sickest wrestling gear guy who ever lived. Guy never wore anything that didn't look phenomenal. In this case, he's got a pink singlet top. He's got black tights that have the pink and white like ice design going down the leg and says Hitman inside of that, which is, dude, you're writing Hitman on yourself.
That's cool.
Come on. And then Ken Shamrock's wearing a skin tight, painted on sleeveless ref shirt because he is jacked out of his mind. He wants you to know.
Wasn't he UFC?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he was a huge like UFC and like Japanese pancrase and
okay.
Yeah, he's legit. Okay, there is on the shelves right now at Walmart a WrestleMania 13 3-pack with Austin, Bret Hart, and Ken Shamrock. So obviously, right?
Yeah.
And it looks like what they looked like on this day, and it's a really good 3-pack. But the main thing for this match was the bleeding. Was Steve Austin is bleeding out, and the way that the blood was running down his face, and the fact that he passed out. That's the whole thing. So you also need the Ringside Collectibles exclusive defining moment Steve Austin that is from this match where he's covered in blood. Because then you just do a little head swap, or when you're playing out the match, whatever, right? So you need those two things if you're really going to play out that match. You a fan yet, or should I keep going?
No, keep going. I mean, I am, but keep going.
Okay. Next match is widely considered the best wrestling match ever, period. I put no weight or stock whatsoever into, what is his name? Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer's like the first like reporting insider. And he's still one of the highest regarded reporting insiders. And he ranks basically every televised match. And his ranking to a lot of people is the gospel, right? So he gave this match, Kenny Omega versus Okada, for 7 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
And it broke the scale of what is considered a good match. I'll say this as an aside, that is the best match ever. And it broke how wrestling functions ever since. Because now wrestlers chase the best match ever instead of chasing who's going to win.
Wow.
The mystery of who's going to win this match.
Yeah.
However, Kenny Omega versus Okada, from Dominion 6-9 in 2018 is the best match ever. It is like, what is it? It's like a little over an hour long.
2018?
2018.
Okay.
Yes, 2018.
Oh, okay.
They both look amazing in this match. Kenny Omega has blonde hair. Okada's got blonde hair. Kenny's wearing black tights that has like yellow and baby blue like piping on it. And Okada is wearing his gear is impossible to describe because it's so detailed. But basically he's wearing red and gold pants, right?
Okay.
Like very, very detailed red and gold pants. Seba,
what's the matter,
shut your pie hole. Shut it. Neither one of these figures exists. The best match ever happens in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Okay.
They don't produce
Toys,
really. They have a couple here and there one-offs.
Can they get, it doesn't, because they don't, their licensing would need to be from, what is it, WW?
No, it's New Japan is their own thing.
Their own thing. So they literally just don't.
They just don't.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have things in Japan that are like big rubber guy type things.
Okay, I see.
But they don't produce articulated like action figures that get widely distributed.
Interesting.
And they are militant about you can't use their it's tough to describe. You won't see an American podcast or a Western podcast that really talks about them, because if you use their audio, their images, their video, they will shut your YouTube channel down immediately. And so they just are very, very contained. Like, I think I've talked to you before about the Blu-rays that I have that come from New Japan Pro Wrestling. They're bootlegs, and it feels like a transgression to own them.
Yeah.
Daniel calls them my dirty movies.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, when Trevor Bauer was pitching for the Bay Stars in Japan, he even talked about how it was very hard for him to be able to get any of the footage. They wouldn't let him have it, even though he plays in the league and is putting the league on the map, all this stuff. They wouldn't let him have a lot of it.
So basically, that's one of my all-time favorite matches, but you really can't one-for-one those figures. There is an Okada Super 7 Ultimate that it looks like he looks in New Japan, but not that match specifically.
Interesting.
So watch the match. You have to, I guess, hold your breath on the figures. Next match, WWE 2011, one of the most important wrestling matches ever. And it is a really, really good time, but I wouldn't call it one of the best matches ever. But it's on my list of favorites. That is CM Punk versus John Cena at Money in the Bank 2011. You might have heard a legend of this because it broke out of just being contained to wrestling. So
I remember seeing, because I graduated in 2011. Mm-hmm. And everybody was wearing, at the time, I remember seeing everybody coming in wearing Money in the Bank shirts.
Yeah.
They had the thing on it. And a buddy that we know, he had some stuff, I think he may have been the one that was carrying stuff like that a bunch. Or something, I don't know. I remember the merch always saying something like that.
So the story goes, we're in an era where everyone knows that wrestling is fake now. We're past The Rock. We're past Steve Austin. That stuff has come and gone, and wrestling kind of dropped off. And then John Cena is now the guy. Yeah. John Cena really only appeals to little baby children.
Interesting.
And you would hear in this era, it was loud every single time John Cena was in arena, a 50-50 divide of men's voices saying John Cena sucks and women and children's voices saying let's go Cena. And it would be a back and forth for minutes at a time. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. Let's go Cena, Cena sucks. And you could hear it. It was men versus kids, right? So it's just a down period for genuine fans like me. This sucks. Here comes CM Punk. And one day, Cena's down in the ring. Punk comes out with a microphone. He sits down cross-legged on the stage. And he basically starts speaking for real about, this is shit. The only reason you're successful is because Vince McMahon wants you to be successful, and his stupid son-in-law is giving you all of these opportunities. And it's like, whoa, he's saying the stuff you're not supposed to say. And he's addressing people that don't even work at WWE. And he's basically saying the stuff that you say as you're walking out the door, right? And it's like, oh my, that's called the pipe bomb, this promo. And it makes waves on TMZ, and it reaches out across all these platforms where it's like, this dude just went rogue and basically shots fired at his boss, the company, everybody. I cannot believe he would do that. A week or two later, he comes out on TV and says, like, I've got this match coming up at Money in the Bank with John Cena for the WWE title, and because I'm so overlooked, they didn't notice that my contract expires that same day. So I'm going to win the world title, and I'm going to leave with it. And it's like, holy shit, he's really going to do that. It's all work. It's not real. His contract was expiring, but like, he may or may not re-sign whatever, but it felt incredibly real when everything had felt incredibly fake for years and years and years up to this point. So in this match, CM Punk does win the title. He blows a kiss to Vince McMahon and he leaves through the crowd, insinuating, I just stole your title and I'm never coming back. And it takes place in Chicago. CM stands for Chicago Made. It is an energy unmatched in any match ever. Like, it is so surreal to hear these people support one guy so hard and shit on the other guy so hard. Like away game for John Cena, something fierce. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, playoff energy. Love it. So CM Punk is wearing the most iconic look that he ever had, which is his like white shirt with the red CM Punk fists and lightning, and then his trunks are the Chicago flag in its natural colors, right? White with that baby blue, like just his most iconic look. That's his Superman suit, in my opinion.
Gotcha.
Slicked back hair, like just the best he ever looked. John Cena, who gives a shit? He looks like John Cena, man. Like,
long jean shorts.
Jean shorts, sneakers, and he has on red armbands in this particular instance. So the CM Punk is very obviously the ringside exclusive Ultimate Edition CM Punk depicting this moment. This, like, the box even is designed specifically for him. The only John Cena that I could find that was like, is that moment was the Elite 14, which we are on like Elite 130 something. Like, that's an old figure. Kind of crazy they haven't come back to it. It's weird to me that Mattel is sometimes like very reverent of John Cena because he is a moneymaker, and they're doing every look he had in his last year, but there's stuff like this where it's like, John Cena just looks like John Cena. Who cares?
But you're also not a John Cena guy.
I'm not. I'm a John Cena hater. Come get at me.
I just remember, again, back in the day, on the trampoline, and just like being, because I never was watching wrestling, but the kids that I hung out with were watching wrestling, so it was all names and moves on the trampoline.
Yeah,
and to be honest, I was sitting on the sidelines. I'm like, I'm not trying to have this freaking stanky kid trying to do what was Randy Orton?
Yeah.
Was that one of them?
Yeah.
What was like a move that he did? RKO.
Yeah,
they were like trying to do that or whatever, and I was just like, yeah, you know, knees kind of feeling funky.
Love it. Next one, another one of the just most iconic matches ever: Undertaker versus Mankind, Hell in a Cell, 1998. You heard anything about this?
I've heard. I've heard the Hell in the Cell.
Yeah,
and I said it one time and got in trouble.
Amazing. Okay, so you've got the Undertaker. We all know him. Doesn't need explanation. Versus Mankind. Mankind is. Yeah, he's coming from having been in Japan. He's known as the hardcore guy. He's the guy that just uses his body as a weapon. They're talking about how he doesn't even really feel pain and all this kind of stuff. And in reality, he is a person who just does things to his body in order to get noticed and get notoriety that other people simply wouldn't be willing to do.
Is it Mick Foley? Is that his real name?
Yes.
Okay.
He's going to be at Dallas Vintage Toy soon. Doing a signing.
Gotcha.
So the Hell in the Cell is a cage that has a roof. So it, like the cage, when you say a cage match, is up against the ring. It's touching the ring. The cell gives them space to walk around it, and it's covered. So it's a much bigger structure made of chain link. So Mankind makes his entrance, climbs onto the top, never even gets inside of it. The whole point of it is that it's meant to contain them inside, and he climbs on top of it. So when the Undertaker makes his entrance, he looks up and goes, fuck it, I'm game. And he climbs to the top. And they fight briefly with they're both well over 300 pounds. And the chain link is like dropping underneath them. They're, 15 feet above the ring, which is 25 feet above the floor. And Undertaker takes Mankind to the edge and chucks him off of it.
Oh my God.
And he flies off and goes through the announce table.
Beautiful.
He's severely injured because of an attempted murder.
Yeah.
They have to raise the cell in order to get paramedics in. It won't fit. The Undertaker's still on top of it. And they raise him another, 10, 20 feet in the air, and he has to just hang out. The paramedics come, they get him loaded onto it. I believe he's got a ruptured spleen and broken ribs. So they get him on the stretcher, wheeling him out. They bring the cell back down. Undertaker starts to climb down. Mick Foley gets off the stretcher, comes back to the ring. He legitimately has a ruptured spleen and broken ribs. Climbs back to the top. I think he has a dislocated shoulder also. Climbs back to the top. They fight some more. The Undertaker choke slams him, and the cage breaks. He goes through the cage and lands in the ring on his head. And a chair that was on there with them follows him down and hits him in the face, breaking his teeth. And one of his teeth went into his mouth, through his sinus cavities, and came out of his nose and stayed in his nose.
That is insane.
So he's dead. They have to stop this match. The paramedics come in. The Undertaker drops through the hole and lands on his feet. And he had come into the match with a broken foot. Then Foley gets up. Keeps going with a tooth sticking out of his nose. They fight around. They have a match. And then he gets choke slammed into a pile of thumbtacks that he had brought in. He has no recollection of any of this taking place because he was so destroyed. And then, the match finally ends. So it is one of the most harrowing things you could possibly see to a man that is just on autopilot of destroying his body in order to do his job. It is... in the question of what match would you show someone who's never been into wrestling in order to show them the
reality of what they're actually doing,
or just this is so interesting, maybe it'll hook you, right? It's that.
Yeah, and then now that you saying that and then watching a video of him walking.
Yeah,
and he's just
and that's the most extreme version of things that he did, but he did extreme things every single day for ages and ages and ages. That's why he's moving pretty badly. Undertaker is in his black kind of Hellraiser kind of look is kind of what I associate it with. That he had in 1997, 1998. Mankind, brown tights, white button-down shirt, and a tie. There's a whole story to why he's dressed that way. For the Undertaker, you would need the Ultimate Edition 20, which is that look that he had in this time period. And then the Mankind, you have two options, or I would say it's an and or. The Defining Moments, which is the Defining Moments being the 1998 Hell in a Cell, where he doesn't have his mask and he has a tooth in his nose and his shirt's a little bit disheveled. That's that look. The problem with that Defining Moments for me is there's no blood, right? And it was not a bloody match, but there was his teeth had come out. There was a little bit of pinkness, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's missing some details the giant
scar. He still has a missing tooth probably, right?
He has hardly any teeth. Yeah, he's got the falsies. You could also get the one that I have is the Ultimate Edition Monday Night Wars Mankind. Also doesn't have blood and things like that, but I guess you could swap those two out, add some pink to it or whatever. So, okay, Next match, Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, Halloween Havoc, 1997. There's really not a backstory here. This is just a good guy versus a bad guy, and it's just an incredible match. It's a kind of a sprint, and it's just one of my favorite matches because of who's involved and because of how they look. Right? Like, I'll say this when I'm watching football. This is a great uniform game.
Yeah.
Right? These two uniforms look cool together. These two wrestlers who are exceptional at their jobs looked cool on this night in this setting. Big Halloween set with like a big balloon pumpkin and all that kind of stuff. Slim Jim ads everywhere. Eddie Guerrero's got the mullet and the like super Latino goatee.
Yeah.
He's got the half black, half gold tights on with like the red design. Rey Mysterio is wearing the Phantom. He's got purple from head to toe because the movie had just come out. And actually it was probably like a year or year and a half old at this point, and he just thought it was cool, I guess.
Pretty cool.
So what you need is the Eddie Guerrero Ultimate Edition 9 and the Ultimate Edition Target exclusive Rey Mysterio. This is the only match on this list that simply has figures based on this match. And they're both awesome figures. I own both of them. They're fantastic. The Rey is the one that I have on display. The Eddie I swap back and forth.
Okay. Is that the purple one right there?
Yeah, the purple short guy.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. Next match, second appearance of Kenny Omega. It's a tag team match this time. Kenny Omega and Hangman Adam Page versus the Young Bucks at Revolution 2020. Man, AEW in 2020 kept me alive. This is the best tag team match, I think, that exists on planet Earth. You have four just all-timers doing what they do with like storytelling and timing and match, like the match quality is through the roof. To be totally honest with you, I don't really remember what the story was coming into it. I just remember how good the match was and that it told this greater story among these four guys and their friendship and where it went from there. It kind of kicked off Hangman Adam Page's greater arc of like a crisis of confidence. He's calls himself the anxious millennial cowboy. And so like it was more to do with what this match was the seed of story-wise. But everybody looks great in it. Kenny Omega is wearing this like gray, these tights that look like armor kind of that are gray. And then there's these big yellow circles on his hips, sort of like Iron Man. They look like light. It's probably some kind of anime or video game reference that I don't know because it almost always is with him. Hangman Adam Page is wearing just trunks, knee pads, boots that have like they're black with western stitching. The Young Bucks are wearing black tights that have yellow, pink, and blue Young Bucks stuff, lightnings and wildness. Very 90s. They have a very 90s aesthetic. Kenny Omega has an unrivaled AEW Jazzware Series 4, which I think is this match. It's very, very close. Hangman Adam Page Unrivaled Series 2, so going all the way back to the OG days, is this match. It's just his trunks look. He's got the bandana. The Bucks don't exist. So the closest thing you can get is their Amazon exclusive Unrivaled 2-pack. Has a very similar neon 90s aesthetic, but you can't just one-for-one this one, unfortunately. Another one, this next one, I'll tell you up front, none of these figures exist. So you're going to have to piece it together, which was kind of a bummer. But it's a very underappreciated and underknown classic, another tag team affair. Sting and Lex Luger, Surfer Sting, which we need to get you caught up on because you only know Gothic Sting, versus the Steiner brothers. There is no story. It's just a crazy sprint of a match with four alphas hitting the crap out of each other. And like, so Gothic Sting, slow moving, depressed emo Sting, but when he was Surfer Sting and he was like an athlete, but he's also like 260 pounds, and he's just running full speed ahead and jumping over the top rope without touching anything and just hitting people on the floor. It was a spectacle. He was a bullet, and he was doing that in this match. Everyone in the match looks resplendent. Sting has red and yellow face paint, and he's wearing yellow and purple tights. Luger has blue trunks, Scott Steiner's got a pink singlet on, and Rick Steiner has a purpley pink 90s pattern singlet on. None of those figures exist, unfortunately. But there's the people have tons of figures. So you can get your choice of a Sting, Surfer Sting. I guess you could just paint any old Lex Luger blue. And then the Ultimate Edition Steiner Brothers, which is... I have them, and they look like the Steiner Brothers look. They're just not wearing what they were wearing in that match. The next match, another appearance from Kenny Omega. This is Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay from Forbidden Door in 2023. So they're about to have a huge match at All In next weekend, which is a huge show that's taking place at Wembley. Like, kind of doesn't get any bigger than that. And it's a sequel to this match, which was a sequel to their first match. So they're 1-1, and this new one's going to be the rubber match. And really, it's just a matter of who's the best. That's really what's going on here. There's more to it than that I'll spare you. But these are two of the all-time greatest wrestlers, being like which one of us is actually the greatest. There's a little bit of young lion versus old lion kind of vibes, things like that. So this match in particular, from Forbidden Door 2023, I saw it in a movie theater at the Barton Creek Mall.
Whoa.
Yeah. And there was maybe, 20, 25 people in this theater. And there are moments in this match that made 5 or 6 people stand up and react.
That's cool. It's what you want it to be.
Particularly, there's a 2.999999 kick out from Kenny Omega that made me and multiple people, hands in our hair, oh my God, I can't believe that just happened. No, I take that back. It was a kick out at 1, which is more of an FU.
Yeah.
Crazy match. Kenny Omega is wearing black tights that have a flame Omega symbol. His hair is dark and he's got a full beard. Will Ospreay is wearing black and it just has green design, green bars on it. The Kenny doesn't exist, so you're just going to have to get a different Kenny. The Will Ospreay, this was his first figure. So it's the Unmatched Series 11. So this was the first Will Ospreay figure was from this match, which I didn't know until I started doing this research.
Wow.
Pretty good. All right, last two. The second Will Ospreay match on the list. This is Bryan Danielson, my all-time favorite wrestler, who is on my top shelf, and he's in the middle, and he's the only guy with 2 belts. Okay. He trained me to wrestle.
Oh, whoa.
And he is, had I never met him a day in my life, the best wrestler who ever walked on the face of the earth, and I won't hear otherwise. Him and Will Ospreay had a match at Dynasty in AEW in 2024, which is the most scientifically pitch-perfect measured match between 2 10th degree black belts doing things that no other combination of human beings would have been athletically or professionally capable of doing. That is so measured to the millisecond when you watch it that you can't believe what you're seeing, right? So Bryan Danielson's finisher is a running knee to the face. He just runs full steam, jumps in there, and knees them in the face and passes through them when he does it. Will Ospreay does moves where he will springboard off the middle rope and moonsault, backflip backwards into the ring. There's a moment in that match where Will Ospreay bounces off the middle rope, and while he's upside down, Danielson runs and knees him in the face. At, mid-air.
God.
Mid-air collision.
Just hearing their sound of their jaws.
It is
clanking.
No combination of 2 other people could have had this match. It had to be them. I don't know a better way to describe it. It's masters doing master stuff. And they both look amazing. Danielson is wearing black trunks, black knee pads, black boots that have red flames and silver dragon scales on them, which just saying that out loud was so sick.
Yeah.
And then Will Ospreay is wearing a 50-50 design that's silver glitter on one side, green glitter on the other, and then lines across that's the inverse. So the Bryan figure doesn't exist. I'll say this, AEW Jazzwares let us down when it came to having Bryan Danielson in-house and which figures they chose to make or not make. They really didn't make a definitive AEW Bryan Danielson while they had the best wrestler ever, having the best run that any wrestler has ever had. The figures didn't line up with what I just said. So you're going to have to piece that together with whatever Bryan figures you want. The one that was, I think it's a Target exclusive, and it's from a Revolution, he's at least wearing black. But his hair's too short, so maybe you do a head swap. My Bryan is a stand-in for like what I would prefer it to be. Like his action figure lore doesn't hold up to the best wrestler ever. Will Ospreay, on the other hand, the 2025 figure of the year, AEW Jazzwares Supreme, is from this match. He is wearing those sparkly green tights. It has 2 sets of legs, so you could actually swap it out, but they're included, and his amazing entrance gear, and it's just one of the best figures I've ever touched in my life. I love it so much, and it's so cool that it comes from this match. And lastly, on the list, I guess if I was doing a ranking, this might come in number 1 because of what it means to me as a fan, and it is The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels from WrestleMania 25, which took place in 2009. To me, this is what wrestling is, because I've kind of explained this to you a little bit. Wrestling is an ongoing soap opera where things, we'll just use WWE as an example, everything that has ever happened, the same way that it would in comics if there was never a reset, right? If Spider-Man aged. In addition to that, what happened in Mexico, what happened in Japan, what happened in AEW, what happened in ECW, what happened in WCW, that all happened too. And so you have lore. You have people that cross paths over the years, over the decades. They build a history together. They're good guys, they're bad guys, they're bad guys, they're good guys. They were in a group, they weren't in a group, all this stuff. And so it forces creatively to shift where that story is headed and where it's going. So by the time you get to 2009, The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels have wrestled each other a bunch of times. They've had some of the best matches ever. The first Hell in a Cell match was the two of them. So there's a lot of lore between the two of them. But where we land here is they're both at their peak. Like, and I mean that as like literal, that they're about to head downhill, but they haven't yet, right? They're like right there. And you have The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels are both good guys. But it's like, I just gotta know. I gotta know if I can beat you. They're both legend status. And then you also have on top of that The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. He's never lost a match at WrestleMania. And that's like bigger than any title, right? So if you can scalp The Undertaker at WrestleMania, that puts you as the guy. Like no one's done it before, and likely no one will. So all of that converges to mean more than any match has ever meant, with two guys that have an enormous amount of history together. And over the weeks, Shawn Michaels is pestering The Undertaker, trying to get under his skin. And he's known to be religious. So he's taking this, I'm pure, you're evil, that's bad, right? The light is going to defeat the dark. And so they do their entrances, and The Undertaker does. I'm sure you've seen his entrance before. It's got the funeral music, and he comes from hell's, comes from hell, right? Yeah. Shawn Michaels gets lowered from the ceiling wearing what The Undertaker wears, only white.
Whoa.
And there's like angels singing, and there's smoke, and he's coming from heaven. And then he comes out, and then his actual music kicks in. And so he's kind of taunting The Undertaker, which is cool in the match, it's cool in the moment, but it means that's what the figure looks like. Yeah. Right? So my favorite thing that has happened in wrestling is this match. Undertaker wins. Shawn Michaels, they have like a series of matches because of it. So Undertaker is wearing what he was wearing at that time. He had like longer hair, he had a singlet top, and then he was wearing tights instead of loose pants. On the tights, there was like the Undertaker symbol with some like rosary beads. And that was in like a really light purple kind of design. Shawn Michaels is wearing white imitation chaps. They're not actually chaps, but they have the design of chaps. And then the color portion of it is like this tan Western gear kind of look. It's so sick. Like white and gold kind of, which is a thing that he would repeat over the years. Shockingly, the Undertaker's does not have a figure that looks like this. That, like, at least not a modern Mattel.
Oh, okay.
In this purple design. The Ultimate Edition that I have, which is the 2024 Undertaker Ultimate, which probably would have been my 2024 figure of the year. That's what he's got, the singlet and he's got the tights, and it looks like what he looked like in this era. But the design on the legs is red.
Oh, I
see. I mean, it's a phenomenal stand-in, no pun intended, but that purple just isn't there. Shawn Michaels' defining moments 1 from 2011 is that look. The gear, the entrance, the hat. It looks just like that Undertaker, only it's white.
Gotcha.
But it's a defining moments 1 from 2011. That's really dated. Single jointed arms, pinned legs, all of that kind of stuff. So it needs an update severely. But that's my list. Those are my 10 all-time favorite matches and the figures that you need to play them out.
I'm sure there are more wrestling fans listening to that, probably agreeing with you on a lot of these, I'd imagine.
I'm sure it's going to be polarizing. A lot of people are going to go, yep, and other people are going, why is blank not included?
Yeah, that's always going to be the
Wrestling
case.
fans are not what you would call agreeable people. They are passionate and they let their opinions be known.
Wow, dude, wrestling itself is all about trash talk.
Yeah, dude. Get at me at Mighty Champions. Cut
solving
a promo.
a physical problem.
Cut a promo. Let me know how you feel about it. But yeah, that's my list. I would be very interested to know y'all's list, what you thought of mine. But thank you very much for making us a part of your week, and we will catch you guys down the road. Peace.